So do you correct people?
I don't necessarily... I am effusive about getting the being loyal to the source material. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, you do.
Hello world. Yeah, this is OnlyFillers, the salad to your steak. I'm LDJ, and with me always it's Steve, aka Sabusa TV, aka the Colombian One Punch Man. What's up, Steve?
Why? Hey, what's up? So it's good to be back. Hopefully this keeps going. And yeah, interesting day. We're gonna talk about something really particular. This our lovely Lord and Savior. We don't deserve him. We are not worthy of his existence. Let's see how it goes. What do you at least have to say, your opinion on the matter, on this new experience that you were trying to get to catch up, to play catch up here?
It's gonna be interesting. Today we have a good topic. It's someone who everyone I think can relate to, at least we as men, right? But yeah. Other than that, before we get into the subject, how was your holiday? How was your Christmas? Anything new?
It was good. Nothing crazy. Like I mentioned the past. We just went to my father's-in-law. My how you say that? How my wife's family.
Yeah.
We stayed there. We ate a lot of food going on. But I think that's pretty much it. Like that's the order of things around those dates for everyone.
Any cool presents?
No, not for me. Oh no, well, never mind. I got a matching pajamas as a present from my sister-in-law. I wasn't expecting that at all. So it was really cute. It was a nice souvenir coming from them, since they know we both like Star Wars to a certain degree, at least not the recent Star Wars movies. Yeah. The franchise, it's complicated, but so they gave us these matching Stormtrooper pajamas. That was fun. And we used them right away because why not? And we took pictures and all that, and all in the spirit of the holidays, I guess.
Yeah, that's nice. We also got pajamas with Sandra, with my wife, and it was cute. It was nice on the baby. So let's get into subject, man. So we're going to talk about Henry Cavill. So I thought that before we get into the recent events that have us here, we could just go quickly through his IMDb page. So I'm just gonna read what we have here, right? So Henry Cavill, actor, right, from UK, best known for Superman, Man of Steel, 2013, Justice League, and Batman v Superman, right? 2016, Batman v Superman, and Justice League 2017. It feels like it was long ago, man, but it's only a couple of years. But yeah. Also Mission Impossible, Fallout. It was also there. Man from U.N.C.L.E., Enola Holmes, among others, right? Black Adam, at least a little bit. But yeah, so he doesn't have like this huge IMDb page. He has an interesting one, I found when I was doing some research, I found an interesting one, and I wanted to share it with you. I don't know if you know this, because it's really, I don't know, it's interesting. I think everyone saw this movie, at least I did, and I think you did too. It's a classic story. But I didn't realize that Henry was there, and he was very young. So let me share that screen with you, and let me know if you know the movie.
Yeah, he was in Count of Monte Cristo. Yeah, he was in that movie. He was really he was so young you can barely recognize him, because we are too used to his big,
Muscles.
muscular. Yeah,
His guns, man.
he's
He's a skinny. He's a little bit skinny, right? He's young, and well, he's playing a skinny character, I believe. So
I can't remember when this happened, but in one interview he mentioned that he would love to play James Bond, right? And if you think about it, he has the physique, he has the accent, he's had
yeah,
all James Bond are supposed to be from Britain
UK.
at least.
Yeah.
So he has that all that cover. He has the black hair, the posture, he's manly as hell, and supposedly he went to the audition for the role. I can't remember when, and they told him, "You're too fat."
You're too fat.
And and he says, like, because of that, I start going to the gym non-stop, and that's why I got so big.
Oh wow, really? That's the reason.
Take
He
it.
says.
Yeah, I cannot like put it like I cannot pinpoint like the video or the specific interview, but I can almost swear this happened, and this comes from him telling the story himself. So just another Henry Cavill trivia thrown there to the mix.
To the mix. That's good. That's good. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I didn't recognize him as in the Count of Monte Cristo, but it's nice. So he doesn't have like this huge IMDb career. Let's say it's good. It's fair. He has been working since 2001. I see here. So it's almost like 20 years of work. So that's good. So our first subject, man, it's Superman, no? So he has some drama recently with Superman. Let me just put it in context. Black Adam came out, right? And with that, The Rock and his production company, Seven Bucks, announced that obviously that Henry Cavill was returning as Superman because he never like officially left. There was no like official communication saying that he was not longer going to be Superman, but it was just like a silent wait. No one knew if he was gonna return as Superman. So he and Henry Cavill came out and confirmed that he had talked to the DC people and the Warner Brothers people, and that he was returning as Superman. And in fact, he had a cameo at the end of Black Adam as a Superman, which it was like an official confirmation, right? Okay, so he's coming back. And then it happened like almost in the same time space, right? James Gunn was appointed as the new head of all the DC studios, I believe it's what they are calling. And so he's gonna be working. He has another like co-director, and then he's gonna be taking like all the huge decisions, just like Marvel does. With Feige, he's gonna be like Feige's back for the DC universe, or the DC studios. And then a few days ago, it was announced, and Henry announced it, that he spoke with the DC people and that he was not longer gonna be Superman. So they let him go. That's a fancy way of saying they fired him, right? It's just the same. He was fired, right? Am I right?
Yeah, basically, but it was really it was such a strange situation because what they did to him, I think it was really it must have been rough on his side because pretty much he's been having these issues with this series that we're gonna discuss in a bit, and they told him, okay, we're gonna have this new Superman movie. Obviously, we want you in it because you're Superman. So please gather your things on that show, and because we need you full time here. Obviously, he quits that other job to focus on this new one. And out of nowhere, you said, just, oh no, so that's not gonna happen because we are going into a different direction. So thank you. And so they put him on the spot. I don't know, where just because, and they just left him there without anything on his side.
Yeah, on his side. It was shady. Let me say.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah,
start saying that you don't treat people like that, right?
yeah.
If you have a
No.
business, if you have anything, even if it's personal or it's a business, you don't treat people like that, right? So DC is screwed up because they gave him a word, like a confirmation that okay, you are our Superman for the future, right? And I don't know the reason why they did it, and then they came back because I think James Gunn was already like in talks or maybe was involved in that decision to have him back as a Superman. But then they went back on their word. I think it was shady. It was shady, and he deserved better, right? He deserved better as a worker, right? Because as you say, you have like actors do not have like a security on their work, and he had, let's say, a security on The Witcher, and I don't think he quitted The Witcher because of Superman. To be honest, I think he quit The Witcher because of the direction and the problems he was having with that series, and we're gonna talk about it in the next section. But other than that, it was still wrong just to go back, right? And to me, it feels like they told him, yes, you're gonna be your Superman, and go announce it just to sell more tickets for Black Adam. That's like the impression that I have. Like, let's make a noise, like let's make some buzz regarding having Henry Cavill, because let's face it, Henry Cavill has a huge like fandom or fans groups around him that supports him and that wants him as a Superman, because let's face it, he is like Superman, right? He has the physique, he has the posture, he knows the character, he's been advocating for a better character, and I think he has been just so unlucky with Superman as a character, and he doesn't has created control of what happened in this movie, right? So he started with Man of Steel. So just let's go back. Did you enjoy Man of Steel?
Yeah, I really like it. It was a nice
2013.
new. Yeah, God, it feels like a lifetime ago. 10 years ago, basically. Yeah, right now it's 10 years actually. Um, so I really like it because it was this person that actually looked like Superman, not only on his muscle, on his body form, on his chin, like his square. He has this square face, like out of this really particular
he has a
jawline. The jawline,
yeah, the jawline is masculine, right?
Yeah, exactly. The jawline, the black hair, obviously. And you have this actor that's really versatile in a way that he can do a lot of things. He's like the whole package if you think about it. So they got this new story, new Superman, because the last Superman was Superman Returns, and that was, can't remember the name of the guy.
Yeah, he after that he went to do in the DC CW
the series.
the series. Yeah, and he was a nice guy, but he was skinny for
He was okay. He wasn't bad.
And small.
Yeah, and he was told he was more similar to Christopher Reeve. That's to the original, like the OG real Superman that everyone has on his mind. He was more similar to him, but Henry Cavill was this like more, well, I guess, physique approach to the we got on the comics, like the Dorito body that Superman has, like is like triangular going down, and because he has this huge chest and he's big, and and we keep.
And he was a good, and he was good. He was not only like a good physique; he was also like a good actor in that movie. So I enjoyed a lot of Man of Steel. I know that that's not a popular opinion, like in the United States. They think most people think that Man of Steel was like a meh or okay movie, and the main critiques are like maybe like like the acting or the range of the acting from Henry Cavill in that movie and what's going on, right? Because they say always that like he had like this phase of I don't know, like farting phase or something like that, or what he was going through. But I think like in the story that Zack Snyder did for that particular movie, right? It was like a first encounter type of movie with aliens and with Sod and with the other Kryptonians. That was great. It was amazing. We never had like these full on modern style like Superman going against other Kryptonians, right? And people critiqued obviously like the destruction and like, oh my god, this Superman doesn't care about people because destroyed like half of a city. Like that's what's gonna happen if we are facing other like big aliens like with a lot of power, but that's okay.
Well,
And then
you rather lose a city or lose the world. I don't know.
lose this word, yeah. And he wasn't doing it like on intention or anything like that. It was in the context. And then at the end he was faced with the choice, like the hard choice that Superman always has to face is he has to save someone. He never kills, but if he has to save someone, then will he kill? And in that movie, he had to kill Sod because if not, Sod was killing another person. So, and he cries and he makes that face and he yells, and that's the meme, right? But it was a great movie. I think he was a great Superman in Man of Steel. I have seen that movie many times. So I
Yeah,
think
and we are also talking like a movie in a world, in a pre-Marvel world, I guess, because
correct.
Marvel was starting to get traction with all their big movies and franchise and storylines, but this was a movie when superhero movies weren't that hot. They were like usually
Correct. Good
they
point.
tend to suck a lot because people don't give the attention they needed, or maybe the budget or the writers, or I don't know. They don't translate well to the big screen. But this
And
was overall it was a good movie. Like you
yeah,
said, it was a
we
it
were
was
coming off I think of Spider-Man 3, something like that, like the Spider-Man
hmm
last of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man fiasco, and there was a time where there was not really like any superhero movies, and then it came Men of Steel, as you said, and this was pre-Marvel era, and just to be a superhero movie. Okay, maybe we had before that we have like the other Zack Snyder movie with the big blue guy. I remember. I don't remember the name now. It's coming. Well, okay, it's the other Zack Snyder movie, right? And then it came this movie, right? It's a big name. It's Superman. So it was good. I think it was good. And Henry Cavill, I think he did good with the story that he was given. He has no control over the story. He has no control of what then went to happen into Batman v Superman, right? So it came, then it came Marvel, right? Marvel like had its big boom with Avengers, and so they were trying to play catch up, right? With Marvel, and then yeah, Watchmen was the other movie, yeah, and then they did Batman v Superman, which was a poorly written movie. We can say that it was poorly written movie. He has no control over that, right? And Zack Snyder then, I don't know, make some mistake. Let's say the story didn't make a lot of sense. The
it
Lex
was
Luthor
too
was not good.
rush.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
rushed. Lex Luthor was not good, a good portrait of Lex Luthor. This like techie, like Twitter, like Facebook kind of guy of power. It doesn't scare anyone. Um, the end with the abomination with
Doomsday. Yeah, the,
with
the, the problem
Doomsday.
the
It's
problem was that they tried to cramp too many stories in one movie, in just one movie. They introduced Lex Luthor, Batman and Superman, their conflict. They also introduced Wonder Woman in that movie because hey, here's Wonder Woman.
and
Uh,
Doomsday too.
Doomsday that is like the original Doomsday storyline is so iconic on the Superman universe that I don't know why they didn't this was the perfect opportunity to set up at least, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 movies, maybe building up this enemy, and
Yeah.
at the end having this huge fight, and not
And
like, and hey, and here's Doomsday. Now we gotta deal with him.
and it was let's say it was an ugly Doomsday, because if you take the Doomsday from the movies, from the video games, from any other from the movies, from the drawn or the animation movies I meant, or the comics or any other source, you are going to have like a better Doomsday anywhere else. So it was like a bad Doomsday. He didn't get any inspiration really from the original Doomsday, right? Like with the spikes here and there and everything.
I don't know how they keep having everything all made up, all already set, like, but they keep reinventing these characters just because.
Just because, yeah. And then, just to your point of cramping a lot of stories into one single movie, they tried to cramp the death of Superman and having Superman die, and so he did, and then trying to set it up then in Justice League. So it was rushed, right? DC, they felt like Marvel was having a lot of success, and they were, and just making a lot of money, and they wanted some of that money, so they tried to rush it up with the wrong person, I think, to have like the overall arcing story of this universe. I think Zack Snyder was not that person. He's a great director. I think that it's a great director for a single movie, but he needs someone else that is directing the story, that knows these characters, that can make better decisions that he did. And then so they went into Justice League, and that was an even worse fiasco, right? So Justice League came out, Justice League from Zack Snyder slash Joss Whedon, right? So it was a mix of two directors trying to pull for the side. We had the whole mustache fiasco, right? Because they wanted to reshoot it because Joss Whedon wanted to reshoot and change some stuff. So Henry had a mustache already for another role, and they had to try to remove it with CGI. It was a fiasco. Then we had the hashtag Snyder Cut, right? A whole drama until they release it finally. And it was better. The Zack Snyder version was better than the Joss Whedon. Yeah, it was better.
Yeah,
That's
it was much more serious with a more, I think, deep tone, and he was already trying to set up Doom's Dark Side, which
That's
is
it. Yeah.
one of the most. He's I get no.
Russian.
Let's put it. Let's say how it is. Thanos is a copy of Darkseid.
Thanos is a copy of Darkseid. Yeah.
If you look in whatever Wikipedia, Google, whatever you want to check your facts, you're gonna see that Darkseid came first and then Thanos. So guess who is copying who? But sadly, they did a much more better job setting up Thanos than Darkseid on a movie that never came out. But it ended up coming out, but at the end of the day, for nothing, because they just killed that universe. So all that noise, all that drama, all the trouble created around this particular movie, the edition, the budget, even the personal things that happen on Zack Snyder's life that led him to leave the project. All this was for nothing, because at the end of the day, they say no, let's start again.
Again. So, and that's gonna be like, that was gonna be my point. So I think it's not Henry's fault, right? He was part of a universe that was built from someone else, right? And now comes James Gunn, and James Gunn clearly he wants to clear and reboot all the franchises. That's what he wants, and that's why he let go Superman. He let go Henry Cavill, and what I think is going to happen is that maybe he will end up letting go anyone who is related to the Snyder universe, right? Anyone who appeared like any major character in the Snyder universe is gonna be let go. He hasn't announced that yet because they have some movies that were already in production that are coming out in this 2023, so they don't want to screw that movie, but they are already screwed. So what it's going to happen is that I think that everyone is gonna just be fired, but just being like a little advocate for James Gunn, what would you do, right? What would you do if you come into a universe that is already a disaster? Because let's recognize it as we have already spoken. Maybe Man of Steel was. Let's count like the good movies. Man of Steel was a good movie. Wonder Woman was a good movie.
The first one was
I didn't hate the second one, but yeah, let's say first one was a good movie only. Aquaman was a good movie. I don't know.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. It wasn't. Jason Momoa is
great.
He's a nice guy. I don't know how to put it.
You enjoy every movie he's in. Yeah, we all do, right? So
he has a lot of charisma.
Yeah, we have a lot of charisma. And then we have two movies like they were really troublesome: Batman v Superman and Justice League. So he wants to. So he comes into this universe that is already very, very like in fire, and he wants to start like a new universe. What would have you done if you were James Gunn, man?
I mean, there's no way, no easy job, because everyone, no matter what you do, they're gonna compare you to what Marvel did.
Yeah.
But people don't understand that what Marvel did took more than 10 or 15 years in the making to set up all these stories, all these characters, and everything was in such a perfect place when you got actors, one in a lifetime actors that were born to play each of those roles. There's no other person that is going to be Iron Man for anyone. Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Chris Hemsworth is Thor. And
so on.
And so on. And Chris Evans is Captain America. There's no way around it. But now they just lost their biggest asset in getting rid of Henry Cavill, which he was Superman. He was the embodiment of this superhero, not only for his physique and everything he already is, but people love the guy. They don't like him. They love him. Girls want to be as like someone like him, and guys want to be him. Not because girls want him, just because he's cool.
He's a cool guy. So, do you think that in another universe it was possible just to have Henry Cavill as Superman in a hard reboot of the entire DC universe, just to have him, and people would understand that this is not the same character that we saw in Zack Snyder? Let's say they do a complete reboot and they do a Superman 1 again or something like that. And it's Henry Cavill again doing, I don't know, Smallville scenes and all that stuff and all that jazz. But we understand that this is a new universe with the same actor. Is that possible?
But he's not Superman. You want him?
No, he's Superman. He's Superman. But do you think people would understand that this is a different Superman, even though it's played by the same actor? That's my question.
Yeah, it could be. Why not? People are already used to the concept of multi-universes.
Multiverse,
So why not? Why not? As a matter of fact, just do it, because is in a good spot that people already have them in their mind to accept it and embrace it. Like, oh, okay, this is just a different Superman, not the same one. It's a different one, but it's Henry Cavill.
That's a good point. We just came out of Spider-Man multiverse and all the Spider-Man movies with multiverse that we're gonna get. So that's a good point. People are used to just having multiple characters and maybe just say, okay, this is another Earth or this is another part of the universe.
It's not like Marvel has the the monopoly on different universes, because actually DC has it too. Flash can move from
Uh,
universe to universe and
and they are
meet.
going to release Flash. They could have used that Flash just to reset the whole thing and say, okay,
Exactly. Actually,
Flashpoint.
Flash is that character that can mess everything up in a good way when everyone wins, and is kind of believable. And well, it depends on the story and all that, but it's possible. So I don't
Yeah,
see why not. I don't see why there should be a problem with that. But
I agree.
they just want to. They have this. I don't know what's the deal with keep rebooting DC characters. They just like to do it. They feel like, okay, so if we don't make, I don't know, $1 billion on this movie, we gotta
Reboot
start
it.
all over again.
Yeah, I think that they are just planning like for, I don't know, 20 years, and they say, okay, Henry Cavill is 39 years old. Okay, no, he's not gonna be good for another 20 years. So they're trying to plan like for a 20-year actor in a universe, but they miss the point that they just must have a good movie, a good
Ex-
script with the right actor born to play that character, and then worry about retirement, right? Then worry about if they get old, then what you're going to do with an old Superman. You can pay some good writers to figure out in 10 years what to do, right? If Henry Cavill is getting old, then you will try to do something. But right now, he is the obvious choice that people want, that people, as you said, would understand that this is a different universe of Superman, and then just do your movies with a good script. I think the most important thing is to have the right actor and the right script. That's it. That was the problem with Zack Snyder. He had the right actors and the actresses, because I think Aquaman was a good cast, Wonder Woman was a good cast, and they were all good cast. The problem were the script. And I think James Gunn is coming here, changing. It's gonna change the characters, but it's not gonna. I hope he will. He would, but he hasn't shown anything that he will just change the script. The problem were the script. They were that was the problem. The problem with the script, not the character.
Definitely, and it's impossible to start something from nothing and trying to set it up for a 20-year uh, movie career or movie franchise.
Yeah.
Why, like you said, why just focus on doing a great movie and start from there? I think this Marvel is having this problem right now because of it, actually trying to stream all together, to all make sense, to all uh,
Be
follow
part
all the
of a,
movies
yeah,
of the, yeah, to be part of the same.
interconnected, and
It's
yeah,
just
it's
it's
insane.
impossible. It's
It's impossible.
impossible to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time, and trying to get everyone happy. And because of it, Marvel just keeps speeding series or movies,
Yeah,
and
man. We're gonna
they're
do
going
another one.
downhill from. Uh, I said it a long time ago. What are you going to do after Thanos? I mean, how can you exist after defeating this huge evil? I mean, they're in Marvel universe, there are beings stronger than Thanos, 10, 20 times stronger, but they are not building up to those, or they don't know how to, because they have the perfect timing to create these movies, and then they say, hey, we got something here. Let's start to show this character here, this character
And
there.
it was in cameos. It was like in after credits. It was not
Uh-huh.
like all interconnected.
In the movie. Uh-huh. It
I don't
was
know.
just a
People,
small scene here
a
and there.
small scene. Yeah, people don't remember it, but the first phases of Marvel, they were just single
Co-
movies, good
contain
movies
universes.
in a
Hmm.
contained universe, and then they got like little bit of attachment in post-credit scenes or stuff like that, and that was it. A post-credit scene where you saw like a logo or you saw like a minor character asking another character about an initiative or whatever, but it was just post-credit scene. So now DC has been in this rush just to imitate Marvel, and I hope James Gunn would realize that he just need to have a good script, good movies,
Yeah.
and then see from that point on.
You,
But
you don't have to be Marvel. You just
you
gotta
don't
be
have to
yourself.
yeah, you just have to. Marvel is not Marvel anymore, so don't try to be
Yeah.
Marvel. It was just a pure luck, pure
A thing of the
coincidence.
moment. That was.
Yeah, just try to be good. Let's move to the second, I think, more juicy one. Okay, so Henry thought that he was going to be Superman. Many say, as you said already, that that's one of the reasons he quitted from The Witcher. Maybe that's it. But let's talk about The Witcher dilemma, right? So Henry Cavill was The Witcher even before The Witcher got released. He was always advocating for The Witcher, right? He's a gamer.
Yeah.
He is a fan of the books. He is a fan of the games, and he was advocating for this movie for a long time ago. And someone finally listened at Netflix, and they picked that idea, and they hired Henry to do Geralt, and it was the best choice they could have made, and they started to build it. But then you know what happened, right?
Yeah,
so
he-
you're the
he fought-
expert.
he fought for the role. He actually was so into it because, like you said, he's so into the mythos of The Witcher, the Polanski books from this universe, we could say, or this mythology that is so big. I think there's after the Lord of the Rings. I haven't read the books myself. I only started reading one a few months back, and it's really good. The book is really engaging. It's really interesting. I have the opportunity to play The Witcher 3, that is supposed to be one of the best games of all time. And after having my run with it, I can understand and I can see why people are so in love with this character. There is Geralt of Rivia, the Butcher of Blaviken, or
Butcher.
I'm gonna be butchering some of the names here because
It's
the
okay.
pronunciation of these characters is, to begin with, is not even English, the original language. Let's start there. So not many people know the how to actually say them. Only Henry, apparently, because I'm gonna mention that. And he's such how can I say this? He's such an interesting main character that pulls the story in any direction he wants or he's put in. But now we have this show that Henry fought for the role, no matter what people say, no no matter yeah, no matter what. And so, well, I know you had a kind of you were playing catch up because the Netflix series debuted on 2022, I think, if I remember correctly.
This year?
It was-
No,
No,
2021.
2020, sorry. 2020,
Okay.
around the start of the unknown life changes everyone experience. So, yeah, let's just call it like that. And so the movie was a great hit from the beginning. I mean, it was hard not to. You have this great
The
actor,
series, yeah.
this great universe, back up with amazing stories from books. Not only books, but the game. The story, the game takes a lot of liberties with their characters and stories. They are not 100% truthful to the books, but they respect the source material so much that people don't care. So people is good with them. It's not 100% one-on-one with the books, but they are so they take such a good care of the story that people are like, oh, that's a neat idea. That's cool. And even the creator has like his good notes on the game. Obviously, he hasn't played, but he knows they people tell him stuff and that. But he gave his thumb of approval to it. But getting back to it, you recently watched the Witcher series.
I did the first season. I did.
There are two seasons right now. The third one is supposed to be the last season where we have Henry Cavill as Geralt of Rivia.
Correct.
What does what do you think starting this different process and this new universe, these new characters, and what are your thoughts like? Let's talk about that.
Okay, so my thoughts. So just to start, I didn't play Witcher 3. I tried it, but I couldn't. And I haven't read any other material. So my first introduction to this universe was with the series in Netflix. I thought that the universe was rich, engaging. I think there was a lot of stuff that piqued my interest, or like, oh, okay, that's cool. Maybe there's something there interesting to analyze. Like, for example, like I don't know that if that's from the original source, but I'm just gonna say it. Like the focus on the destiny, or not. Let's not say the focus, but the subject of destiny is very prevalent throughout the story, right? It's a lot of people have different opinions about if destiny is something or not, and the story in the first season kind of shows that there is some type of destiny magic, if you will. And so that was interesting, right? Like the universe is trying to have a conversation around destiny. That's good. There's also a conversation, especially with the witches, around chaos, right? So it looks like the chaos is what drives the magic of this world, and there is like a balance between chaos and order and destiny and something like that. I am guessing from this first. So that was interesting. Those topics, I thought they were good. They were interesting. There is also like an overall subject about I don't want to say discrimination, because we as a society, a Western society, just take discrimination as racism, but it's talking about discrimination in some way about monsters, right? What defines monsters, and Geralt is like really has like a really defined line of what he thinks it's a monster that he must kill, and what he thinks it's a monster that quote unquote that he doesn't think it's a monster, or that he doesn't deserve to be killed, right? So it's very interesting that
Right.
like, and the other characters do not agree with Geralt's point of view of having these other creatures like as worthy of living, because I think he himself he's also like a monster for many people, right? He's a mutant, and I get that, and he was designed, and he's different, so people also discriminate his kind, the Witchers. So it's good. I think that's a good conversation that is already baked into the universe, I think. So it's not the main focus, but it's there. There is definitely a talk around discrimination, destiny, and chaos. So I like those subjects. I liked Henry as Geralt. I love him as that character. I love like the voice, like, I don't know, leave me alone.
The grunting, yeah.
The grunting. He does like this.
And I hope maybe if you watch a few clips of the game, maybe the voice of Geralt is the same for all the games, and this guy has more than 1,000 lines of dialogue as a voice actor just for the Witcher series, and it's amazing. So Henry's trying to imitate him as much as possible. Is obviously is impossible.
Yeah, it's
Let's
tough,
be
yeah.
honest. It's tough. It's really hard, but he does a great job at it. But okay, so you
I
gave me a
I
yeah.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So yeah, go ahead. Ask me.
Yeah, okay. So, what I there's something I gotta ask you because I got my own point of view on the series as well. I watched it as soon as it aired,
Hmm.
and actually the series was the thing that convinced me to give the thank you that gave me that convinced me to okay, let's give the books, but especially the game, a chance.
Hmm.
So for me as a whole, it was good enough to get me interested to experience more of this mythology, and
Hmm.
and at least try more to the source as much as I could, and that's why I play the games. But my question here is, why do you or how do you felt about how the story was presented?
The story. That's a good.
Yeah,
The
like
storytelling. Okay.
that in a way that did you like the
No.
order?
No. I didn't. I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know
I
why they
didn't
did that.
because yeah. And when I was watching, so I was trying to like binge watch this
At
and
least
trying.
you notice. But yeah, go.
Yeah, and I noticed like, okay, there's like there, so for those who have not seen the series, so the story focuses in three main sub stories. Let's say one is Geralt, one is Jennifer, and one is Cyril. I think it's the name of the girl.
Siri,
Siri.
Siri for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, City for sure. So the whole series is focusing on these three sub stories, right? And you are expecting as an audience that in one point those three stories are gonna converge. That's normal because they are all very separated stories. So you're trying to focus. Obviously, you expect Witcher to be the main focus, but you're getting those other stories as well. But then as you go on, like maybe the fourth chapter, something like that, you start to hear like they are making references to stuff that already passed in one of the other stories, but in the first episode. I don't know if that makes sense. So The Witcher is now living stuff that we saw happening from another point of view 3 or 4 episodes ago, which
Or the characters are recalling. Oh, did you hear that
oh,
something
the character,
happened?
exactly. So that's when you get then to think, oh, okay, maybe okay, so maybe I saw some stuff in the past or in the future, and now we're catching up, and then eventually you understand that yeah, you have been playing catch up with some of the characters to the other characters.
Yeah, some
So
characters are in the past, or in the future, or are in the present, and
it's
somewhere in between they just gather all up, and it makes sense.
it's
But
complicated. They are
yeah,
trying to pull like a memento kind of stuff, but they are not doing
yeah,
it right
but doesn't
because
make
they are not
sense.
all in the same time point in time, right? So, I think the main problem of this storytelling is that as you are going, you are getting bits of past, present, or future or whatever, but you don't know that until you are almost at the end of the series, and then you have to like reconstruct like a jigsaw all these like a puzzle, all these bits of information that you have in your brain just to make sense of, okay, now that's what's going on, that's
Uh-huh.
what's happening. So I didn't like it. I don't mind when the story starts at the end and then go back or stuff like that, but they all do, like all the characters are going at the same time. What I thought was poorly done is that some characters were in the future or in the past or in the present, and they didn't say that from the beginning just until the end. So yeah, it could be done better, right? Definitely it could be done better, the storytelling.
and and that's one of the main issues with the series, because let's be honest. This is not an easy universe. This is a complex world with deep and characters, with deep lore, deep economics, an established kingdom, economy, rules, a magic system,
You know what
power.
you are just describing, right?
I don't
That's
know.
Game of Thrones.
And I was going to that. What I was getting to is that Game of Thrones did the same, but did it in such a slow way, but keeping it interesting enough that you were engaged. But they took the time to
They took the
set up
time.
this. They took their time to set their world, to set their distance from one kingdom to another, to set these characters. Oh, so this guy is from this kingdom, so he talks like that. This girl is from there, so she is like that.
Or looks like
And
this, right? Yeah, something like
yeah,
that.
and we have a comment here that like they beat more than you can chew. Basically, yes, because it was they try, and the worst decision among many bad decisions was to present this story in such a mess way that the story wasn't easy to begin with. So why do you have to make it even harder by mixing these timelines of characters being in a different space and time than others, and just trying to I don't know. I mean, it
I
was
think it's just
unnecessary.
trying to get fancy. Yeah, it's
It's-
unnecessary. It's just the same thing when you see like a soccer player trying to make like a move that doesn't need. It's just trying to be fancy, right? It's not serving any purpose for the story. It's not serving any purpose for any of the characters. Not Jennifer, not Geralt, not Siri. They are not getting any anything out of this way of telling the story. So I think it's just being fancy. The writer is trying just to, I don't know, prove a point that he's good, and that's gonna be something I'm gonna talk about
oh
later.
right.
So it's just fancy for being fancy. Yeah.
Okay. So all right. And now, did you feel like Geralt was, I mean, The Witcher, which is the name of the show, was the main focus of the series?
The Witcher was not the main character of The Witcher.
The
If that
Witcher became a sub character in his own series, and that's another thing it didn't make sense at all. I mean, why? I mean, the first episode has its ups and downs, but as a whole, I think the first episode when I watched it, I was like, oh man, this guy is gonna be a badass, killing monsters and paving his way using magic. He doesn't use magic. He uses signs. Signs are different from magic. Signs are faster. They are not that powerful, but they get the job done. Uh, anyway, um, so you got this guy that he's amazing with the sword, chopping heads and asking questions later, and grunting because he can,
yeah.
and it's cool. The first episode I think is one of the best, and then the series happens. So
Yeah. So let me, before I get to the first episode, because I have a lot to say about the first episode, let me get to this page. This is, I don't know, I just Googled it. It's 9 wheels. So this is the screen time by character. Okay? So, uh, so currently through season 2, but focusing on season 1, it says Geralt of Rivia, 266 hours. Jennifer, 192, and Princess Cyrilla or Ciri, 168. So, and then you have Jaskier and the other characters. They are all in the double digits. So these 3 characters are all in the double digits, and even though Geralt is technically ahead of Jennifer, it sometimes it felt,
barely.
yeah, barely. It felt like the main story is not about Geralt, because it's almost split like in three, but even more like in two. It's telling the story about Geralt, and at the same time it's telling the story about Jennifer, and they meet only in season 1 at least. They meet only like maybe chapter 4 or 5, something like that, and they meet and they get some scenes together, and then they go on in their separate ways in the final episode. So it's interesting to me that they focus a lot in especially on Jennifer. Ciri, it's just trying to show how she's escaping, and that's important to the end of Geralt's story. But Jennifer, it's just her own story, right? She has her own like her own background story, like her own origin story, let's say. She has like her own origin story, then she has like the hero journey of training, right? She's going through all the hero journey stages, right? Origins, like training, facing some obstacles, being let down, and then having to reinvent herself into another thing, and then into another thing, and so on, so on. So I found that interesting because you don't get that much information of Geralt, right? You don't have an origin story of Geralt. You don't have an I don't know if you need one, but you didn't get one. You don't have like a training or like of coming of age of Geralt or anything like that. The show starts and Geralt is already Geralt of Rivia. The show starts and he gets the name of the butcher of Blabaker or whatever it's pronounced, and then Jennifer's story begins. So season 1 is actually Jennifer's origin story. It's actually, and how Geralt influenced maybe or has an influence in her story. But Geralt is doing some stuff like some side quest. Sometimes it feels like Geralt is doing some side quest, trying to find a gene or having fun with the bard and stuff like that. And then the main story of Geralt starts when he meets Jennifer, and then he realizes that he needs to go back to his daughter, spoiler alert, his daughter that is owned to him, and then that's I think it's gonna be season 2
by the law of surprise.
The law of surprise. But so it's not there. So season 1 starts, episode 1 starts, and it's I told you about this. It's interesting that it starts with first scene. You get Geralt fighting a monster, action, good action. You think, okay, that's great. This is what we're gonna get from this show. Next scene, you get Geralt meeting girl bosses. Let's say it like that. He's meeting just again and again and again. He's meeting female characters that are in positions of power, and they are throwing shades at men, right? You have the girl that is taking Geralt to see a Streckerboard. She's dissing the whole mythos of witchers just being men, right? And she's complaining. I don't know why they put that there. It's odd to me why that line is there.
It's so in your face that
very cringe.
Yeah, and since you watch it recently, it must be even more in your face, because when I didn't remember that. When you mentioned that to me, I was like, oh, they do that. They actually do that. I didn't notice because I was so engaged with Geralt, and I was, oh, well, the world looks good, and I was so mesmerized by this new show. But I didn't pay much attention to the kids saying all this stuff, and the main let's say enemy of Geralt in the first episodes being a girl that is half his size in every single way, but she can stop his sword with one hand. I don't know. It's weird. And let's start with just one thing being said is that witchers they will claymores. Claymores are two-handed weapons that are so heavy that they require you
to be strong,
to grip them with both hands.
Yeah.
But since they are not humans, witchers can wield them with one hand. So what will you think if a guy with a sword that weighs more than half of your body, or I don't know, comes with a full force to your face? It's gonna it's gonna crush your skull. There's no way you will stop that. But she can, because she can.
Yeah. So I think when I saw that, I thought that the series was in fighting with itself. So it was fighting with itself, trying to be something else that it was already, and so the stories sometimes felt like they were fighting for like the, let's say, the soul of the first season, right? and and I don't need to say that I didn't like hate it any like storyline per se, but I just felt like some stuff were taken away from Geralt, and because of that, it took too long. It was just a season, just for Geralt to get to Ciri and hug, and then ends, which could have been like way faster because let's face it, we just needed Geralt to get to Ciri, but they made that so slow just to explain Jennifer and just to get you the origin story of Jennifer.
That's
Because
the worst part. It's not. It wasn't even for Geralt. It was just for another character. And
yeah,
then
because that the whole season is trying to explain Jennifer's story, and then in the side quest was Geralt getting to Ciri, which the story says is the most important thing because of destiny and because of the power that Ciri has, but the show is saying that, but it's showing other things. So it's fighting with itself. It's trying to tell us that Ciri is the most important thing and that Geralt should go to Ciri, but the show then is gonna focus on other stuff other than Geralt going to Ciri. So,
But let's talk about this.
yeah, it's fighting with itself. It's fighting with itself.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Jennifer is an important character on The Witcher.
And let me say that, yeah, don't get me wrong. I thought that Jennifer actress was good. Like she was good, a good actress, and she did the best that she could have done with the material she had.
With what
I
she
guess.
got, yeah.
Yeah, that's all that we can ask from an actor. So she did good. She did well. She had in her contract that he needed to show her boob like every other episode, and she did. So that's obviously they were trying to have men stay, or I don't know. That's it, just for that. Through the story of Jennifer, which it's interesting. You're trying to empower women in a character as Jennifer, but at the same time you are doing so by telling your audience that it's mostly men to stay because you're gonna show some boobs.
Because you're gonna get some. Yeah, I know, but
it's weird. It's just funny.
Just before we continue, we got a quick question here. Any thoughts on the future of the series without Henry? I can tell you right now that I don't think there's a future without Henry. At least that's what I think.
I think it's gonna be surprising to me if they release a season 4 without Henry.
Yeah.
I know they have announced that, and we're gonna talk about the lesser Hemsworth taking the role as Geralt, but I think it's gonna be really, really tough if they release without Henry. What I mean by that is that either I see them canceling season 4 and just canceling season 4, or trying to get Henry back, one of two, just because of the backlash of people, right? And the backlash for the Blood Origin sequel, right? So a sequel without Geralt is failing, and so they must see that a season 4 without Geralt is gonna fail
Oh, no.
also, and they're gonna lose
Blood
money.
Origin is a prequel.
A prequel. I'm sorry. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. A prequel. So I think it's gonna also fail. So it's gonna be shocking to me if they release a season 4 without Geralt. So I believe that they will try to negotiate with Henry back. But that's gonna be like the next point that I had with you, right? What's the problem of the show? I think the problem of the show is the producers, are the producer and the writer and the writers. Yeah. And that's a trend of 2022, if you will. That's writers that have like a magic series, a fantasy series like Rings of Power, right? Like The Witcher, trying to be better than the original material. Yeah, we saw that with the Rings of Power. They are producers or writers that they think too much of themselves, and they believe they are better or that they can do better than the other than I don't know, than Tolkien or than this guy. And the what's the name of the
I'm gonna give it to you in a second.
author, the author of the Witcher? Yeah. So they believe that they are better, and so they are trying to prove a point, I don't know, to themselves, to the world, that they can do better. So they try to deviate as much as they can and introduce like their own mythos and their own stories into the source material, and then we get the problem. So I think that's the problem. I think Netflix needs to go into the future, realize that they need to do a better job with the scripting, the writing, and shift directions. It's a hard direction because Hollywood is full of egos. It's a hard choice, but this series has no future without Henry Cavill, especially if they keep going into the route of making The Witcher a secondary character and not the focus of the character of the nothing against Jennifer's character, but everyone is here, or the fandom is here to watch The Witcher, and that's this the established story is The Witcher, and you have already a fandom of millions of people that love the character and love the world, and that's what you are selling. That's your product. Then you try to change the product to another thing, they're just not gonna watch it. So that's the same thing with the Rings of Power. This is just the writers and the producers.
I don't know how could you have the audacity to improve on something that is already not perfect, because nothing is at the end of the day.
Nothing is.
But it's already so elevated in our actual world or our society that, oh no, this guy did that, but I think we can do this better. And like, how can you say that with a straight face and
No.
pretend that
It's
you're
pride.
gonna just
It's
I don't know. But I don't think that's even the ego of these people. That's not ego. That's like they're high, pretending that they're gonna. Oh no, because I don't know, because Legolas is not the best character. Let's put more traits into him. Aragorn is not as strong as he should be. I don't know.
And you're mentioning something very good, and that's a point that I wanted to make. It's that they are putting in these shows people that are not fans of the original source. So you had Lord of the Rings, the movies, and you have Peter Jackson, that was a huge fan of Tolkien, and he read he read the books, and he loved Tolkien, and he knew that he couldn't make a one-on-one adaptation for a movie of the source material. That was impossible, and that was not the job he had. So he realized that he needed to make some change, but not because he was better, but because of the way he was distributing this story. Right, he was doing a movie, and he needed to maybe do some changes, and those were okay changes, and everyone accepted the changes because he honored the source material. Just as, for example, in Star Wars, you have Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni, he idolizes George Lucas, idolizes the first movies, and he loves him so much that in everything he does, or he did, like in Clone Wars and stuff like that, he was trying to elevate George Lucas's source material and even trying to cover his ass. So Dave Filoni always tried like to explain stuff that George didn't explain very good in the movies. He was trying to fill the gaps and trying to explain them in a good way, honoring the source material. And that's why Star Wars fans like myself only trust Dave Filoni for Star Wars, because and that's the same thing for all the other franchises. They need someone that is a fan of the source material.
Exactly, and the worst part of this, and you're talking about it, and let's talk about that, because I don't know how could you work in something and at least don't have the tiniest idea of what you're working with. And these the directors and writers, they were like so proud, like, oh, we're working here, but we haven't played nor the games, not the book or read the books, but we are doing a series. And like, okay, but are you planning to? Oh no, we are not. And like, okay, so
What are you
how?
doing?
So how? Like, how are you planning to build this new franchise that, because Netflix had like the perfect unique IP to have to create their own
Game of Thrones. This
yeah.
was their Game of Thrones. Everyone is trying to get the next Game of Thrones. Yeah, Amazon is trying to get the next Game of Thrones with the Lord of the Rings, but Netflix had it. It's The Witcher. It's this universe. It's everything. They had the right actor. And going back to the question of Andres had a great question, right, about the thoughts for the future series without Henry. I said that they needed to bring him back, but I think that they need to bring him back in with an addition, and it's Henry needs to be executive producer of this series. And going forward, Henry needs to do, and this is not crazy what I'm saying, because other actors have done this, The Rock does this. This is why The Rock does what he likes, because he has his own production company. It's called $7. Everything he does, even though it's with Universal Studios or if with Disney, everything he has to work with his production company. So Disney has to work with $7, and they build then the movie, right? The boat movie. It was a Disney movie, but it was produced by $7. So The Rock is smart, and he gets that he is also a brand, right? And he has to take care of that brand. And so does Henry. Henry needs to start building his brand, and he is a brand of an action actor who is very knowledgeable, deep knowledgeable. Oh, I'm sorry. That was funny. Okay, he knows a lot about these franchises, right? Because he enjoys them, because he is a geek at heart. So he needs to start building himself as an executive producer of these franchises. So he's now gonna start the Warhammer 40K franchise universe. He needs not to be just an actor in that universe, because if not, this is going to happen again. He needs to be also executive producer, just like every other big like action or movie star, right? Like Will Smith, like The Rock. They have their own, like even Brad Pitt, right? They have their own production company, and that's how they start to have a say in the story, in who's gonna write it. Maybe not in the story. He's not gonna sit down and write the story, but he's gonna have a say in who they're going to hire to write it, right? That's what The Rock does. That's what the big and they also have mistakes. But this is the only way he's gonna have some say in the direction of the franchise, is having some type of executive producer.
Yeah, he's gonna. I think at the end of the day, this like sad story that we began with, that him leaving Superman, getting out, kick out the role, he quitting, or I don't know, getting out of The Witcher, which some of the rumors say also was because and he mentioned this in many, many, many interviews. He said, "I'm here for the long run because I love the character. I love the Witcher universe." And but he kept saying this over and over again. He said, "I'm here for the long run as long as they respect the source material."
That's
And
correct.
and I think they obviously they didn't do that,
No.
and I can imagine the poor guy knowing all that he knows, because he basically was asked directly, "Hey Henry, how how do you pronounce this?" And he gave people like, "Oh no, the proper pronunciation of this name or word is blah blah blah, whatever." See? So you get this actor that is not his. He has these many faces, but not only that, he loves the what he does so much that he knows pretty much all you have to play that character, to get that role. And in in spite of all that, you choose to ignore him or not respect him or not pay as much attention as you should. I I I think if I don't know, if I have my company, I obviously am not a director or anything like that. I would love to have someone so committed to the role that is willing to, hey, can I put this, and he comes from from an honest place, because he's not someone that, oh no, I know so much, and no, he openly has told everyone, I played 200 hours of the game, I read all the books. So like, okay, this guy knows something, let's listen to him, or at least give him a chance. And I don't know if you're gonna watch the second season, or I don't know, but and not, if you end up watching it, there is this scene in the second season that something bad happens. But originally, it was treated in such like, oh, a joke. It was treated so lightly, or took as a joke. And Henry read the script, and he said like, no, we can't do that. and and he argued with the writers and with the director, and he argued with them, and they changed the whole that whole scene, giving Henry's input. I gotta rewatch that scene because I don't remember it well. Like it didn't stuck with me the first time I saw it, but knowing this, I gotta rewatch it. But at least, but only one time they did that for him. Only one time in how many episodes? I don't know how many episodes are in total. I think I want to say like 20 at least.
Okay.
Something like that.
Eight in the first season. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, let's say the other season is at least 20. It's gonna
At
be
least 20.
16, somewhere close to that. I can't remember, but just they did it only once. And like, you see what happened when you listen to the guy that knows the most in the room.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And that's the other topic. That does Henry know too much? I think directors don't want that this guy comes and gives them, bullet points on the job they already made that is supposed to be much better than the source material. So I can imagine this
Yeah.
guy coming with his heart in his hand, basically, like, hey, can we do this? And hey, I don't want my actors to think, I want my actors to act. I guess that's the line of thought of them looking at this guy like, what do you want?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he may know too much for his own good,
Yeah.
in a place, in a work environment where he doesn't have a control over stuff, and especially in Hollywood where you have so much pride and egos going on around. So yeah, that's true. Maybe he does know too much for his own sake, and that's why he needs to get in a better room, right? He needs to be surrounded by better people and to make this franchise great if they are going to do so. But I think he is perfect for these roles that we have spoke about, and he needs to set himself for success going forward with his franchises.
Yeah, I think that the Warhammer 40K universe, I don't know anything about it. I don't have a clue. I get I at least from The Witcher, I knew there were games and books. I know nothing about this whole universe. The thing I know is that it's massive, even bigger than The Witcher, I think, and it has such a devoted fandom that I wish him the best, and he knows. I think I don't know if more than the Witcher series, but at least he knows enough to be in charge of such a huge project. I I really deeply, I hope deeply that he gets the recognitions he deserves, because I feel like he can catch a break. I need he needs his, and he needs this to work out to get the what he actually deserves, because
The
he's
respect.
the
Yeah.
respect, the recognition, the like he like I don't know, people, I I want them to say, oh, he was right.
Yeah.
He was right, and I don't see why this can't happen. That's my thought on it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Prayers and hopes for the dude, for the guy, for the man, our Henry Cavill. So this is the Henry Cavill dilemma. I think that's it for today. Any other point that we missed before we say goodbye?
No, no, we already said we don't deserve him. We this world is not worthy of this passionate guy for everything he does. And but no, I all I gotta say is don't forget, this is starting up. We're planning to keep going, but don't forget to subscribe, to make your comments. We're also on Spotify. This will be uploaded on Spotify later. We also but if you prefer this format, we also got our YouTube channel. You can see our lovely faces, or me just spinning in the chair, and also Libardo just changing his hoodie from time to time, and me changing my cap. But that's one of the benefits of this channel. You can also chat with us here live if you happen to be here. But if you are not, you can leave your comments and we will get back to you. But you are more than welcome to follow on Spotify only at OnlyFillers, also here on YouTube at OnlyFillers, and we're also working on the Instagram account to get some maybe memes or stuff just to get the ball rolling here. But thank you everyone, and we really wish to see you soon.
Yeah, that's it. We did it. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, here on YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you, guys. Peace.